The first article that I chose for this week's discussion board post is entitled Challenges for Meaningful Interpersonal Communication in a Digital Era, and it's authored by Elsa Ventnor and published in 2019. This article looks at our computer-mediated communication that most of us use every single day. I grew up in an age that I didn't know what a computer was when I was in grade school, and I've seen computers developed into items that we can hold in our hands as opposed to a big monstrosity that took up an entire room to operate. While these advances have been very convenient, you can go anywhere with a cell phone. You can even now use wireless earphones and be talking as you're walking down the hallway, and that opens up so many different ways to express yourself to people and to communicate with people all over the world. And yet, in utilizing these methods of communication, we also do ourselves a disservice because we don't have those face-to-face interactions that we once enjoyed, and we lose a lot as far as your voice intonations and your body language that can really help someone to understand better what you are meaning in your conversation. A phrase, for instance, if I were to say, "Nice job, Bob," or "Nice job, Bob," you see a totally different message there, and we don't always get that message if we're using social media. It also kind of puts us in a state of isolation. We separate ourselves from the people that we really should be developing better relationships with, often destroying our families at the core. I don't know how many times I've been at a restaurant and seen a family sitting there in the restaurant having a meal, and they're not talking. They're all hooked up to their individual devices and having conversations or playing games, and I'm guilty of that myself. I saw this week a post on Facebook. One of my coworkers was asking people what their first inclination was when the phone rang. Do you let it go automatically to voicemail? Do you wait and get their message and then text them a message back? How do you interact with people, and what's your comfort level? And I think that oftentimes it is more comfortable to just send a text message rather than phone someone. I can recall when my daughter first started FaceTiming me when she was at college, and at first that was very uncomfortable, but then I found that, hey, I'm actually having that face-to-face with my daughter, and she's 2 hours away from me, and it actually was preferred over just a simple text message or a messenger message on Facebook, and I appreciated it. I think that this article does a really good job of showing what we've lost with this new technology, and yet what we can do with this technology to help improve interpersonal communication. I think that my example of FaceTime is a good one. It's a way that we've kind of found a compromise with where we can actually have that face-to-face communication as opposed to just text messages. I think that this article does a good job as well to look at the risks that are involved when we overutilize social media in place of a phone call or a face-to-face conversation, because oftentimes we are putting information out there to total strangers, people that might be our friend on Facebook or a friend of a friend, and we're giving out a lot of very personal information that is not a good idea. It makes us very vulnerable. I enjoyed reading part of the article. It talked about emojis and the use of emojis, and how oftentimes we can form a full sentence with just emojis. So I enjoyed reading this article, and I think you will too, and I'll include that link at the end of this video. Thanks.